In 2020, you endorsed the Breathe Act, which is a series of proposals to transform America's criminal justice system and create, quote, a roadmap for prison abolition. The Breathe Act proposes emptying federal detention facilities within 10 years. To what extent have you wrestled with any potential downsides of releasing into society every single person who's currently in a federal prison?
Yeah, I think that everyone's like, oh my God, we're going to just release everybody. That's not what
the act says.
But did you see how many people are mentally ill that are in prison right now?
No, I know, but the act that you endorsed actually says release everyone in 10 years.
But think about it, who are releasing?
But there are like human traffickers,
oh, I know,
child sex. So, but you're saying, do you mean that you don't actually support that? Because you endorsed the bill.
No, I endorsed the Breathe Act and looking at the policies and how we incarcerate. Absolutely.
But it says in there.
But you cannot just blankly say, oh, look, she wants. That's not what I'm.
But that's like in plain text.
But what I'm saying is, look at who's in prison now. No, look at the folks that are mentally ill, that have substance abuse problems.
But I'm not disagreeing with you that there are people who shouldn't be in prison.
Yeah, but then why aren't you asking me about them? You're asking me about the human traffickers and others that should be able to be held accountable.
What I'm trying to understand is your proposal is so sweeping. It does release everyone. And what I'm trying to say to you is
within 10 years, and obviously there's a process of looking at how can we get away from mass incarceration and move towards care first.
But what I'm trying to understand, because it is such a sweeping, concrete proposal, do you believe that there are still categories of people who should be behind bars?
There are absolutely folks that I don't know, because right now the way the prison system is supposed to be like rehabilitatory, it's supposed to be rehabilitation, right?
Right.
No, really, that's how I
understand.
Yeah. I don't think there's any rehabilitation happening right now for those that might actually have, and again, a majority, there's so many that have mental health issues, other struggling issues. Do
you think all people can be rehabilitated?
I don't think so. I've been very clear about that.
Okay.
And I only tell you that because, as somebody that has worked in the legal field and others, I don't even know if our society would even know how to be able to rehabilitate every single person that, wants to harm people, right? But I can tell you that what's struggling for me is seeing the statistics about so many people that at a very young age that are in there that probably would not have been in there but for the fact that they were struggling with mental illness or other issues within their family life, that I think, they would have been more rehabilitated if we came with care first rather than criminalization. And that's just true. And it's not just me saying it. It is experts and others out there saying this is actually, not keeping us safe because folks are getting released and they didn't get the care they needed.
But in your vision, there is still, whatever proportion they are, a small proportion who do need to be behind bars.
Yeah, again, I would have to look at every case individually and figure that all out. I can't just say that. But
you do believe that prisons should still exist.
But I want the American people to know, and they need to know this. Everyone in jail is not the same, because we always pick the worst of the worst cases.
I agree.
Yeah, but we pick up the worst of the worst cases, and we just blanketly.
I agree.
Please, I think that's really dangerous because a lot of my returning residents are in block clubs doing amazing things, youth mentoring right now. I have one that all he does is encourage young people not to enter into gangs, and talking about this is what happened to me in my life. There are some that, are going back to school, and one just became a lawyer. I just think that to me is much more inspiring than locking everybody up.